You really just need to ask the questions and see if you can get that guidance, because I was always full of questions and I was always getting answers. If you don't ask, you won't know.
G'day guys, welcome back to another episode of Level Up. We are back in the shed, got a really exciting one for you today. Look, thanks so much for everyone that's getting involved and helping my cause to create a new building industry, and love the feedback. So yeah, keep your questions and stuff coming. It really eggs me on to keep these things going, and I know the guest that we got here for you today is going to deliver a heap of value because he's got a similar mission for his particular trade. So welcome, Ollie. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Duayne. Thanks for having us on.
No worries. So look, for anyone that doesn't know Ollie, he's a bit of an Instagram star with Hungry Wolf Studio. So it's all about concreting, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So pushing architectural concrete and that sort of thing. So yeah, making it a little bit more fancy than your traditional sort of concrete stuff.
Oh, mate, I love what you do, and I love your passion. Like, I think it's probably lacking a lot in our industry. Like, I love seeing people that are passionate about their trade and what they do, because it's just really refreshing, I think, for our industry to see people like yourself that are putting so much time and effort into it.
Yeah, look, it's something that it's getting stronger and stronger as the years go on. I sort of started off when I was started off in architectural concrete. It was, it was very nerve-wracking. It was like, the thing's going to go wrong, will I get enough work and all the rest of it. But now with the systems and stuff that I have in place, it's become quite easy and super enjoyable and very rewarding. So
yeah, awesome. So I wouldn't mind taking the listeners back, because like you've found your groove now, I guess. Like, you've found your passion and you're running with it, and you're being very successful with it. And I know a lot of the guys and girls that listen to this, like, a lot of them are sitting there going, how do I get to that next step? Like, they wonder how they're going to, I guess, grow their business, improve their business, like where they're going to end up down the track. And like, when we were just talking before we got on here, like, I've never heard a story like yours about how you got into concrete. So,
yeah, it's not the normal way, that's for sure. So yeah, I was working at a supermarket, and a lady came up and asked if I liked my job. And
so did you look out of place or what? Like,
I don't know, maybe, but I was like, no, I don't like it at all, really. She said, would you like to come and work for my husband? I was like, okay, doing what? She said, concrete slabs. And I didn't even really know much about concrete or anything like that. And I sort of said, well, yeah, sure. When would I be starting? And she said, tomorrow. And I was like, all right, gave her my phone number, and then, yeah, got a call and a message, and 6 o'clock start was pretty early for me back then. So
how old are you at this point?
I was 18. So I just finished year 12. Was just going through like summer holidays basically before I was going to go to uni and do graphic design. But yeah, ended up falling down the path of the concreter, and it was funny because my boss, the first boss, he said, now that you're in gumboots, you'll never get out of them. And I sort of laughed it off. I said, mate, I'm only doing this for a little while just to get a bit of cash up. And he couldn't have been further from the truth.
So I think it's funny, Ollie was saying how he basically finished his shift that day and went past Bunnings on the way home, picked up some gumboots.
That's it. Yeah, that was it. And then, the rest is history. So it was, at the time I thought I was making really good money, and, it was pretty good. It was a physical demanding job, which I wasn't used to. I was getting in the truck at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I was asleep,
Yeah.
But yeah, as it, my fitness improved and my strength and everything like that, it was really good, and I found it really enjoyable working outside for the most part.
So what was it? Was it house slabs? Like
was, yeah. So it was back in Melbourne. So I was in the southeastern suburbs and basically doing all these house slabs that were popping up. I mean, it's gone gangbusters down there now, like Cranbourne, Clyde, and all these outer suburbs down in the southeast. And that's basically where we were just going out there and doing waffle pod slabs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
rain,
hail or shine, 6 days a week. And yeah, it was pretty demanding, but I had a good bunch of guys there. There was always good camaraderie and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
I like to I like to try and extract the story, because I think it's like so many people get sucked into business. Like we'll go into a bit more detail. Like you obviously progressed and started your own business, and we all go through it, and it's not no like no one it's no one's fault that they're not running a good business, or they're stuck and they don't know how to improve and all those sorts of things. Because I think it doesn't matter whether you're a concrete or a plaster, a painter or a chippy, whatever you are. Like you just keep progressing. It might start off with some cashies on a weekend, and then it grows to you got enough work that you're going to leave your boss and do your own stuff, and it keeps growing and growing, and you quite often miss the opportunity to actually realize, hey, I'm running a business.
yeah,
What do I got to do here?
yeah, seriously.
So like, how long were you doing that type of work before you took the punt and jumped out on your own?
It was about 10 years before I went out on my own. In that time, it was I just had a baby, so we just bought a house as well. So I thought, look, it's probably wasn't the right time, to be honest. But
Had a lot going on.
it was one of those things. It's like it was just one of those years. It's like started a business, had a baby, bought a house. But I think all of that combined gave me a lot of drive to succeed and make sure that, all right, whenever I'm rocking up to site, I'm doing the best possible work I can do, and I'm going to leave the job site as clean as possible as well.
Jeez, that's
And I think,
handy. I'm blown away to hear that from a concreter.
yeah, well, and that was it. And I saw that what other trades and other concreters were doing and leaving sites like an absolute pigsty. But when the client comes in or the builder comes in and sees that you've left a clean and tidy site, that's actually what they care about. They don't see the work. If you leave it as a pigsty, then that's
Doesn't
the
matter
first
how
thing you're
job the
going to
job
see.
is.
That's
Yeah.
right. So I picked up that pretty quickly and implemented that pretty quickly.
And is that so that was you'd pick that up through your time working for other people, and where they were dropping the ball a bit, and improved on that straight away. But like, so in that 10 years you worked for someone else, like, did you progress in that business? Like, what roles did you end up?
Yeah, definitely. So started off, obviously I was doing slabs, and then moved into up into the city and was working on high-end residential homes, which was a huge difference, more like raft slabs, a lot of steel, and a lot more intricate, a lot of step downs and things like that. And then, from there it went into commercial stuff as well. So doing hospitals and then basements for high-rise buildings and all that sort of stuff. So really ticked off pretty much every box you can tick in concrete, and formwork and steel and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So
I think it's awesome when you, like, obviously your boss at the time was running a good show. Like, I think it's really important for especially younger guys coming through to work with people that do the whole thing. Like, so a lot of concreters now, like, they just come in and pour. Like, they have no boxing experience, no tying steel experience. Like, they simply just turn up with their trowel machine and a rake and shovel and place the concrete. Like, but I think it makes you a far better tradesman in any trade that you do if you understand the entire process.
yeah, and I think part of that for me was sticking with someone long enough to learn the process. A lot of people get into a job and they'll, within a few months or 6 months, 12 months go, nah, I need to move on, go somewhere else, but end up back in the same place that they were when they left, if not in a worse spot. And then that keeps happening. So over time, they're not really getting anywhere.
A lot of people chase the dollars, don't they?
Yeah.
Like, they'll leave for $1 or $2 instead of, because I don't know, it's like human nature. We always want more. But sometimes you just got to sit back a bit, don't you, and take it all in.
That's it. And if you're learning lots, which I was learning so much I'm still learning every day, but I was on a good gig in terms of, money was good. I could have got better.
Yeah.
But I was happy where I was because I was getting so much knowledge and experience in different areas of concrete, which really helped launch me to go out on my own.
Yeah, knowledge is power in it, and power equals results. Like, that's what I tell people.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just have bits and pieces. Like, if you hang around and you put in the effort and you keep picking up that knowledge, like, that gives you power to be better, to know your trade better, to run, like, be able to go out on your own and have your own business, and then that equals results, which is generally profitability and a successful life.
Yeah, yeah.
So you moved on. You started your own business, and so when you started, were you doing slabs and stuff as well?
Yeah, so it was high-end residential slabs and driveways and things. A lot of builders that that the company I used to work for moved on and went up into commercial.
Yeah.
And then, but where we started was high-end residential stuff. So I was sort of getting back in contact with these guys, and then just working through a lot of their stuff. And yeah, it was quite a simple transition.
Yeah.
Because they'd seen me, they knew who I was, and
So
yeah,
how did you go? Because so you're in your late 20s
yeah.
and you've started your own concreting business. So how did that pan out?
Well, I had good weeks, I had bad weeks, I had good months, I had shit months.
Yeah.
It's always a struggle, you know. It was whether it's a builder who doesn't pay on time, or you know they're held up with whatever reason they've got, or it's a client that isn't happy with something. You know, like everyone goes through that sort of stuff, and that's something that you just need to learn to deal with when you're running a business. And
Yeah.
like you say, it's managing expectations, and as long as you're on top of that, then it's good. But yeah, the cash flow thing was pretty tricky. Being a concreter starting out, I was outlaying a lot of money before I got paid. So I was outlaying for all the steel, all the
Oh, so you were doing
formwork,
the whole show. You weren't just turning up and the builder had all the gear there. Like,
no, doing the whole lot.
yeah.
And then if you weren't getting paid for 60 days and then that money was late, it just has a huge domino
Geez,
effect.
that's a lot for a young fella starting your own business.
Yeah, it's pretty stressful.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So I guess that's new for me as well, because like I've always sort of been like, even when I was doing my time and subbing and stuff, like it was generally always a builder supplying the materials and the concretes would turn up and do the work. But yeah, like that's taking on a lot of risk if you're.
Yeah, I was quoting the whole package, and lucky for me, I got out of it all right. I decided it was time to stop all of that stuff. I didn't get burnt too bad, but I know lots of people who have done the same thing that I was doing, and it's really come back to bite them on the arse. And it's there's nothing worse, because you're doing the right thing.
So where did you learn to do all the estimating and taking off and all that sort of
I
stuff?
was doing all that sort of stuff while I was working, doing all my big commercial projects and things like that. I was learning estimating everything. I was normally the guy who was calling up and working out all the steel, or working out concrete for jobs and things like that. So I was doing it just on a much smaller scale, which was kind of good.
No, that's unreal. Like I take my hat off to anyone that jumps in the deep end and has a crack on their own. Like it's just, and I feel I take on a lot of responsibility. Like for me as a builder, I take it very personally that like it's my job to look after my subbies, make sure they get paid. Like it's not my subbies' fault that if, like back in the day when I was running a shit show, like if the client didn't pay me, like that's not my subbies' fault. Like and I took that really personally. I was always the last one to get paid. So I think like you were saying before, like some of your payments could have been 60 plus days. I do feel there's a lot of builders out there that instead of putting the time, energy into running a better business themselves, pricing their work properly so they're making money, they're chasing their tail on every job, which means they drag out the payments to blokes like yourself.
And it's just a domino effect.
It's a domino effect, and it just puts so much pressure and stress on everyone involved.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. So I think it's changing a little bit now, and I don't think that many people, especially with the way that the economy is right now, would be doing what I was doing 10 years ago now. I think you'd be crazy to do it.
Yeah. So you progress from that, and then for anyone that doesn't know, Ollie's been involved in a few series of The Block as well as a contractor for the contestants.
Yep.
So is that so you had started Hungry Wolf before you went on The Block?
It was itching in my brain to come up with something that was quite unique, that had nothing to do with concrete. I didn't want Ollie's Concrete Constructions or anything like that. I wanted to do something that had no tie to concrete at all. You would have to look me up if you wanted to look up what I did and see pictures of work and things like that.
So how did you go? Like, I'm very interested to know, because I think it's incredible how you've gone from just being a concrete laying slabs to doing the incredible stuff you're doing now, and you've really built a niche little market. So like, your passion for concrete's there, but like, were you just laying awake at night thinking, like, what can I do differently? How am I going to get out of just pouring slabs every day?
Yeah, it was more once we bought our house, we had plans to renovate it because me and my wife, we both like a bit of DIY stuff. So yeah, the plan was to just put in like a concrete barbecue bench and concrete sinks and just use concrete in ways that not many people saw it.
Yeah.
And that was a good chance for me to sort of express myself, creatively as well. And I just really enjoyed building that sort of stuff. And then, I just found it was such a little amount of concrete, bugger all formwork, bugger all steel, but huge impact because it was now a finished product. It wasn't something that was getting covered in carpet or, driven over. It was like, it was a feature.
Centerpiece.
Yeah. So, and then every time someone came around, they'd be like, "Oh, nice barbecue." Who did that? I'm like, I did it. And then, it just sort of word of mouth, just sort of, it spread pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so is that, obviously it's progressed a long way. And then, like, the first time I saw you was on the block, and I thought it was pretty unreal how, like, you did a big cantilevered bench, didn't you?
Yeah. That was back for Caro and Kingy back in the day. And that was, I was still running my old name then. And then as soon as that, we'd filmed it, obviously it's 6 months behind or whatever it was, but by the time it came to air, I'd launched Hungry Wolf Studio, and it was really cool. It was a really nice step in the door in a way that clients and stuff would go, "Oh, these are the guys from the block," and builders like, "Oh, you're on the block," and it was back when the block was was fun to watch. No, I didn't say that, but it's changed a lot since back when I first started on there. It was good.
Mate, even though, like, I'm not a huge fan, but I do take my hat off to the people that get involved with it. Like, it must, like, you would have seen a little bit of behind the scenes. Like, it must just be chaos.
Oh,
like,
it is, and anyone who thinks that it doesn't happen in that time, it does. It's crazy, And, I was doing some 18-hour days, just because you've got to stop. I've got to film something, and you got to go back, and then.
So how do you? I don't know. Maybe I can't remember how it worked when you were on there, but like, how do you, like, concrete's got a set?
Yeah.
So like, and they got a 7-day time frame. So how does all that work?
Oh, I just up the strength of the concrete. It's like super strong stuff. So it's it goes off like a rocket, but as long as you're on top of it, you're all right. But I wouldn't want to be doing my first bench top on live TV, national TV. Yeah, it's but I've been doing it long enough now that there's not many situations that I can't get myself out of.
Yeah, awesome. So you've, like, I just think it's so incredible how you've run with concrete. Like, so many people just think concrete's a concrete slab, but like, your floating stairs are unreal. Like, I'm going to do your course when I get a second. Like I said to you before, I want to do a set
I'll
at
come
home
up and give you a hand.
Yeah, all right. We've got that recorded. So, but like, I feel like you're very passionate. You love what you do. So are you always improving and always striving to improve and do something better and find out where you're, like, pushing the limits with your concrete? Like,
yeah, definitely. I look back at some of my earlier stuff and I think that it was good. But if I was to put my finishes side by side now, there's just no real comparison. So a lot of it has to do with the equipment that I've used. Everyone says they've got the best stuff, but through trial and error, and then coming up with our own products that are specified for the work that we do, it's definitely made things a lot easier.
So, like, again, that just blows my mind. Like, you've taken it the next level again. Like, you've actually created your own, like, you've got your trowels and your edges and all sorts of things, don't you?
Yeah, because you just couldn't really find it. It's all just standard concrete stuff, and to use standard concrete, big bulky trowels and big bullnose edges and stuff, you can't get those crisp, clean lines that, these architects and people are just, they want a really crisp, sharp line. And so getting a really nice finish is, you got to have the right tools.
Yeah.
So
it's so awesome to see someone backing themselves, mate. So you've like to see, like, coming from, what were you doing in a shopping centre? Stacking shelves.
I was a checkout chick.
Like, it just,
I was on the register when that conversation sparked. So
like, to go from that to just being thrown in the mud straight away, and then your own business, and then just working your way through to where you are now, I think I take my hat off to you. And so you're like, I'm passionate to improve the industry and create a new building industry. Like, I know you're very passionate about lifting the game of concreters and things, because like, let's face it, like, concreters have got it, like, they've come a long way. Like, I remember back in the day, like, they'd have a stubby in their hand by 9 o'clock.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, the second truck would be backing up to the pump, and they'd be
a
sneaking
Wild
beers.
Turkey 101 or something too. It wouldn't just be like a light beer. It'd be, it's look, I mean, I've seen all of that too. Like, I've gone through it all and seen where these people are. A lot of those guys that were doing that were in their late 30s, mid 40s, and still, coming to work doing that same thing every day. I was like, man, I'm not being one of them dudes. That is for damn sure. So,
but and you've got to like, you've got to keep progressing, don't you? Like,
you do, yeah.
And I think, like, I take my hat off to you again for cleaning the site, but like, that's the type of little things that any trade in the industry can do, isn't it, to make an impression?
Oh, I'm all about the 1%ers.
Yeah.
It's even just staying back and just giving it another trowel, That's the one thing with the architectural concrete stuff. It has to be, the finish has to be burnished. Like, it's got to be a mirror finish. So it's if you've got to stay to get that finished, you've got to stay to get that finish. You can't just go, half do it and go home. So you've got to really dedicate yourself to sticking around. I mean, my wife forever has just said, "What time will you be home?" What time will you
It's
be home?
concrete.
It's like, for the 150th time. Like, I don't know. I'll be here till it's right, and I'm 100% happy with it, and then I'll give you a call when I'm on the way home. So
no, I think that's especially, I don't know how you find it, but like, we finding it harder and harder to find young guys coming in, like, to the business. And like, I've really changed my tune now. Like, I used to, whenever I was trying to employ an apprentice or even a carpenter, like, I'd try and be looking for someone that had some skills. But now I'm just looking for guys that are committed, that want to show up and put in 110%. Like, if they can do that, I can teach them what they need to know. I just need to find people that'll want to work.
Yeah. It's the hardest part of anyone running a business is just your staffing. It's and finding that person who is like you were, that just wanted to get in there, learn as much as they could,
and not leave till it's perfect.
Yeah.
So, mate, how do you find time to do all this? Like, so you're still on the tools. Like, I see your Instagram videos all the time, like troweling and.
Yeah, I'll do. I've scaled down a lot. So at the moment, it's just myself back on, and I'll get someone to. Either the builders or landscapers to give us a hand getting the concrete in. And I've got a couple of guys that I'm using to, just help and teach at the same time. So guys are getting some on-site learning with me, which is, it's great for them and it's great for me as well. So just sort of kill two birds with one stone with that. And then, just try and focus more on our online and shop and things like that.
Yeah. So as well as all your tools, you've also got courses now, don't you, where you educate people on how to do what you're doing?
Yeah. So that's it's a good one coming up. I've got my barbecue benchtop course, which we start filming on Monday. So it's really exciting. I'm really pumped about it because I get to really show off a lot of different cantilevered elements, radiuses, different thicknesses and things like that, all in the one bench top. And I think it's anyone who wants to build a concrete bench top will get everything they need to gain.
I'll watch that one too.
Out of this. Yeah, it's really cool. So
how that it's like the stuff we do, mate, and the mucking around and the videos and stuff we do, like we got all the time in the world. Like how do you prep to video concrete?
The first course was a bit of a learning curve.
Yeah.
I had no idea how much work was involved with it. It'll be like what you guys here. It just looks like we're just having a chat, but there's a whole lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Then it's all got to get edited and put together. And yeah, it takes a team to make that sort of stuff happen. And
Yeah.
we've got ourselves a really good team, and it's made a world of difference now.
So imagine like doing the stuff you're doing with your stairs and your barbecue tops and stuff. Like I've only seen the stuff you put on Instagram, but a lot of it would come back to your preparation, wouldn't it? Like your form work, like making sure everything's Mickey Mouse before you even start putting concrete in.
Oh, 100%. Like you've got to start with a solid foundation and then make sure you're building off something solid. And then from there, it's all the form work. It's pretty much carpentry, pretty high end carpentry to get your, exact measurements on bench tops and things like that.
Yeah.
And all it's there just to take away, it's all there, and then it all just goes in the bin. You might be able to reuse a few bits and pieces, but you're just building a frame and then filling it with concrete. So every bit of formwork that you put in, it's not using nail guns and bits and pieces, because you can never pull it apart to strip it and things.
Yeah.
So it's building it in a way you can deconstruct it as well.
Yeah, I think like for people out there listening that don't understand concrete and formwork, like there's a lot more to it than what people think. And like you just touched on, like when you're doing formwork, it's got to be built in a way that as the concrete's curing, you have to be able to pull it apart safely enough that you don't damage the concrete that you're trying to finish.
Yeah.
Like it's a work of art.
Yeah, it is. And you've just got a certain time frame, you've got about an hour and a half to go from having it poured and starting to strip that formwork to having a really good trowel on it, so that you can just focus on purely just refining that finish.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Then it's there for 100 years if it wants to be, So
yeah,
that's why I'm so passionate about, my finishes and things. And I think that's why our business went to where it went, because there was someone willing to do that.
Yeah. So
and show concrete can be a lot prettier than what it is on the side of the road or in a gutter.
So you do it once, do it right.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what, like for people, like who buys your course and your tools now? Like is it mum and dads at home that want to do their DIY benches? Is it concrete? Like who?
Look, it's interesting, because we were targeting more towards the builders and things, but with the floating steps, we've got landscapers, builders, DIYers. I've had a couple of architects do it. I've had guys in Egypt and Ireland and UK. Yeah, it's America. So it's really cool, and getting to see their pictures and what they're creating. It's awesome. I'm finding it super rewarding to see that. Yeah, it's triggered something to get people interested and upskill themselves.
Does that keep driving you to just keep produce, like you obviously got another one you're going to start filming, like does that drive you to just keep improving what you're doing so you can keep seeing people around the world
big time
using your knowledge to develop their own masterpieces in their own homes?
It's awesome. And then hopefully they don't just do it once, they get hooked on it, and they can do what I did, start with you look back at my first finishes, like I was saying, and they weren't that great, but what these guys are creating through just having someone show them how to do it, because I wish that someone had made the course for me. I was just doing, if someone had a course when I first started showing what I'm showing, I would have absolutely loved it. I would have eaten it up, and then it would have made my life a hell of a lot easier. But I did all the trial and error stuff and worked through certain processes and things to make it. And now it's actually really easy for someone to start this journey, which is fantastic.
I love concrete, mate. I think like concrete, steel, glass, timber, like it's just, we have some incredible building products available to us. I think concrete can be used for like some of the things. I like some of the old is it John Lautner homes, the like all those falling water homes, and the ones he did with all the like the off-form concrete domes and stuff. Like it's just incredible what you can do with it.
Yeah, you can mold it into any shape. It's if you like playing with Play-Doh, you'd like playing with concrete.
Yeah.
I
So can
reckon.
people take the skills and the techniques that you teach in your course and like adapt it to, I don't know, like pool surrounds, fireplace mantles? Like, I
Yeah,
don't know. I'm sure there's heaps of things.
100%. Yeah, as time goes on, I'll have more and more courses and things going, whether they're just little short courses or how to build a radius concrete seat or something like that. But just little additives that I can just keep adding in. So eventually, you just get the whole picture of how
Yeah.
to do it.
So with the stuff you're doing, are you, and this might be a top secret thing that you don't want to give away, but like, is there a special mix? Like, or are you just ordering out of the chute of the truck?
I make sure I know what I'm getting when I
Yeah.
order it. It's not just like, oh, just send some concrete. It's got to be a minimum of 32 MPa, just depending on what's happening with the job.
Yeah.
Back in Melbourne in winter, I was using 40 MPa stuff just to help get that speed along with the curing and also the finishing. So they were getting, it was costing me more money to give them the product, but they were getting a better finish.
Yeah.
So,
So for those guys, well, people that are listening, like, let's give them a quick education on concrete. So generally it's like, so say it's 32, 20, 80.
yep,
So 32 is your strength.
yep.
The next one is the stone size, the aggregate size, isn't it?
Yep. So I'll try and get like a 7 or 10 mil aggregate.
Yep.
Slump's always about 80. You can always
Yep.
add more water if you need it.
Yes.
But a lot of the times, I try and have as little water as possible, but it still needs to be able to vibrate and flow quite nice.
Yeah.
And then it's just using like a nice refined washed sand, and that's it.
Yeah, so the first, 32, the first number is your strength. The second one's the size of your aggregate. And the last, when they say slump, that's how the consistency and how runny it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jeez, I would have thought you would have been using, like a 180 or even a 200, like to get it into all the corners and to flow nice. But you're obviously vibrating at it.
Yeah, I do vibrate it and stuff. So there's a whole lot of different mixes out there now, which, these bigger companies are coming up with. I just like traditional concrete. I find it really nice to finish.
Yeah.
The stuff that you get now from the bigger plants has got a lot of other additives and stuff in it.
Yeah.
And I really don't find the finish I get with it anywhere near as good as just your traditional concrete. So
concrete does interest me a lot. Like I know back in the day when I didn't know much about it, and like you'd be on site and helping the concreters pour, and they'd be, oh, this mix is awesome, it's nice and fluffy, or oh, geez, this one's coming up well. Like the water's come to the top, and like whatever. Like, but as you learn more about it, it does make a huge all that stuff makes a massive difference to the end product, doesn't it?
Oh, huge, especially when it's not getting covered in carpet. If it's a bench top or a kitchen bench top, you really need to know that what you're putting in is the good stuff. Because I have used other concrete when I was starting out before I, went, no, I'm not going to use that person and I'm not going to use that supplier. I had to funnel all that stuff out and what was different with that concrete. I mean, I was like, concrete's concrete, but it's far from it. Yeah, you really need to make sure, do a sample.
Yeah.
Check it out. Make sure it's all good. It's going to save you a lot of money in the long run.
Yeah. So you're up to you're in Queensland now. You're at Cabarita.
Northern New South Wales.
Northern New South Wales.
Yeah. But yeah, loving it. It's been 6 months and made the switch. So I'm finding it a little bit difficult because back in Melbourne, I had, a nice big shed like this and I could have my truck in there and all my workbenches and all my steel and everything. But now I don't have any of that stuff. So it's more just managing my time to make sure materials are there and that sort of stuff. So
you're still doing jobs for people?
Yes. Yep.
But just in between your passion, which is now your materials, your programs and helping people. So I guess what's some advice you could give out there for young guys or concreters in particular, like some tips for how to be a better concreter, I guess, or starting out a business like yourself?
I think it's just more make sure that you do, whoever your employer is, make sure you understand that they just want the best result. So if you can help them achieve that, then you're going to create, you're going to be a better concreter. You're going to be better at business and that sort of stuff as well. And then ask, just don't be afraid. There's no stupid questions. If you want to learn how to quote, or if you want to learn how to, I don't know, anything to do with the business, you really just need to ask the questions and see if you can get that guidance. Because I was always full of questions, and I was always getting answers. If you don't ask, you won't know.
Mate, I love that you said that, because that's what I've always done as well. And I think a lot of the people that we talk to on this podcast, that's a big difference. Like, that's a difference where they've got to where they are, and against someone that doesn't ask questions. Like, don't just kick your feet around in the dust and turn up to get a paycheck each day. Like, I love that you said that your boss is always like, they just want the best outcome. Like that's awesome.
And if you can help deliver that, then that's going to make you a much better employee, and then also much better at business as well. So
because if ultimately that's why a boss is getting paid, like, because people don't want to pay for garbage. So like, someone that's running a business is always looking for a good result. So if you put in the time, the effort to help them get that good result, you're going to get more pats on the back, you're going to get rewarded, you're going to get pay increases, you're going to get opportunity to maybe move through the business.
Yeah.
Like, is that what you found when you're working for that big company?
Yeah, 100%. And it worked because I was dedicating the time. I wasn't the first to get out the door. Generally I was first in, and I'd always stay and finish the concrete. Sometimes I'd be finishing at 2 or 3 in the morning. So it was pouring 1,000 square meter high rise slab. It was that's how long it took. So and then do it all again the next day. But I'd usually get the next day off.
You were quite young, so you're in your early to mid 20s?
Early to mid 20s, yeah.
And you said, I think you said before, like, you were running 20 odd blokes. Like,
yeah, it was quite stressful, but at the time it was I didn't really know any different. It was only when I started running my own business that a lot of that pressure sort of went away. It gradually built back up again to a point as my business got a little bit bigger, but then once I found architectural concrete, I knew that was my niche. It was my happy place. So, and it took a lot to get there, but once I found it, it was a wave worth riding. That's for sure.
Yeah. So who helps you out, mate? Like, because I know it's one thing a lot of tradies and builders struggle with, like, and most people don't see behind the scenes. It's their wife or partner or someone. So who helps you do all this?
Oh, my wife, Kylie's amazing.
Yeah.
She's definitely the boss of the business. She understands business really well. She has pushed for me to go out and start these courses and things like that. She runs the shop and that sort of thing. And she's been able to work full time for our business now rather than go and work for somebody else. So it's amazing because, she gets to make sure the kids go off to school and that sort of stuff, and can be there to pick them up. And things, and we've just got a lot more time together as a family, but it's not something I could do without her. That is for damn sure.
No, that's unreal. Can we are we right to dive into this a little bit deeper? Because
let's dive.
I'm we're in a similar situation. Like, my wife and I did a podcast a little while ago that's went gangbusters, been our best one yet, but because people think that, like, they see me doing multiple businesses and helping the industry and thing, and they think it's all me. And I think back in the day, I got caught up and I'd get so stressed. But like, I think the actual building industry would fall over if all the wives and partners went on holidays.
Oh, you are not wrong.
Every tradie, every builder has someone helping them out, and I think.
And if you don't, you should.
Yeah, definitely. And we actually, in my Live Like Build business, we actually did a really good professional session yesterday with our members, with the TX guys from the Trademark counsellor. So he talked us through some mental health stuff. And it's like, I know so many females, partners, wives, whatever they are, sitting behind the scenes, most of the time, they're doing it for free.
Yeah.
And I know when we started, like, my wife ended up in the business when we had our second child. She was on maternity leave. And the office lady I had at the time, her husband got transferred to Adelaide, so they packed up, and we were like, oh, well, good opportunity, come and work in the business. And we were excited. We thought, oh, we're going to win more work. Like, we got some free labour. Like, let's smash this out. Like, back in the day, we didn't understand running costs and working our overheads and all this sort of stuff, and it just took such a massive toll on everyone. I know there's a lot of wives and partners out there that put on this brave face like front because their husbands are struggling with the business side of things, and then they've got to back them up, help. Like I take my hat off to women. Like, I don't know, like they go through childbirth, they deal with the kids, like they get the kids ready, they get the kids to school, they run around all day and do whatever needs doing for the family, pick the kids up, do all the dinners, put the kids to bed. Like they're just always doing stuff
Masters
for
of
other people.
multitasking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then for traders and builders, when the kids go to bed, they get stuck helping out with admin work or computer work or
Yep.
whatever it is. Like, and I think it's okay to put your hand up and say, like, I need that help. Like,
Yeah, 100%. And if you don't, you should. And hopefully this, just this conversation alone helps someone to just go, all right, nah, I need to get some help with,
yeah,
running the business. I can't do it on my own.
yeah.
It's anyone who's running a business on their own, I think is crazy. And probably very sleep deprived.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look, again, with all the with everything we do with our Live Life Build business now, like, and like just really deep diving, flipping the industry on its head, learning new things. Like we've found by doing it, building our systems library, like to run a successful building business and a trades business would be no different. Like 80% of the tasks it takes to run a successful business are off-site.
Yeah.
And so, like, as a concreter, like, I'm sure you'd vouch for this. Like, you go to site all day and you pour the concrete, but like the estimating, the ordering, the accounts, the paying your employees, like all the work cover, like everything else is done back in the office.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
I think I don't know. I'm still struggling to come up with a term for it or a better way to explain it. But I honestly believe that builders and tradies businesses are almost two businesses. Like you have the site business, and then you actually have the admin business that it takes to run the site business.
Yeah. Yep.
And you can't do it on your own.
No, you can't. And it's managing that time as well. Because, a lot of the time, if you've got a young family like I do, the last thing you want to be doing when they get home from school is to be sitting in the office doing that and missing out on time with them. So,
Yeah.
you're either up super early before you go out the door, which is,
Yeah.
most tradies are out super early anyway. So, or you wait till they're in bed, and by then you're absolutely knackered because you've been up so early. So
Yeah.
it's a bit of a catch-22. It's just
And
trying
then
to,
it's affecting your relationship. You're not getting any just chill out time with your partner, and it's
Yeah.
like every spare minute is just consumed by like trying to get a bill paid or get an invoice out or something. So I think telling those sorts of stories, like it's good to hear that your wife's obviously very passionate as well.
yeah.
So did she have another career before you guys started your business?
Yeah, so she was doing, she was a PA, and then through having time off with the kids and that sort of stuff, she's also done interior design. So she's quite passionate about that. And because we renovate homes and stuff, she really gets to like throw her spear on it. I'll do the construction side and she'll do the fluffy stuff, which is which is really, really good because I don't have a clue when it comes to that sort of stuff. But it's she's really good, and she's found time to do what she wants to do as well as running the business. So
Is she as passionate about concrete as you are?
not quite, not quite. Hopefully I've got my two girls and my young son are. It's funny because I went to pick them up from school the other day, and there in the sidewalk was Ava and Chloe written in the fresh concrete footpath. So they picked it up from somewhere, but I think it's just one of those things that, kids just, I don't know, anyone in general, that's the first question whenever I've bought something, can I write my name in it?
Yeah.
It's like...
it's there forever, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I think, it's important to, for anyone that's got a wife or a partner working in the business, like it's really important to support them and appreciate what they do. And Amelia and I are big promoters of making sure if you do have your wife or partner or someone working in your business that they're getting paid for that role. Like, because I know, we went down a road with that. Like I said, my wife, we were working for free, and like that just ended in disaster. Like, and when I look back now, I understand. Like, you can imagine how yourself going to work every day and not feeling valued or paid or like it just drives you down. So our whole industry, I think, and it's funny, like people think it's expensive to build, which at the end of the day it is, but I think it's only expensive to build because people want too much.
Yeah, well, that's
Like,
right. And everyone sees it's one thing to look at a pretty picture. You'd know as well, like you look at a curved wall, it's a lot harder to build. There's a lot more materials. It's a lot more labor intensive to do that, but it looks great.
yeah,
And it's the same with concrete and stuff. It's like if you want curved concrete, that's cool, but it does cost a lot more to do it because
yeah,
it's a lot more time
yeah.
and things like that.
So, mate, where do you see Hungry Wolf Studio going? Like, what's your big goal?
Well, that was half the reason behind the name. It was a bit of an umbrella to call Hungry Wolf Studio. So it opens the doors to do lots of things. So yeah, we definitely want to keep going with the courses, keep going with the shop, and just make it a place where you can come and get everything you need and you
So
know,
when you say shop, online shop.
online shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a store in the future. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just keep pushing it, keep teaching, keep the education side of it going, because I'm finding it really enjoyable, and I know that a lot of people are getting a lot out of it as well. So yeah,
It's very rewarding, isn't it? Like seeing people, like seeing what your passion is, help someone else.
and just seeing them get, they're just frothing over their stuff that they're creating as well. And,
Yeah.
that's one thing whenever I'm doing a job, you're just so busy trailing it and things, you're going like crazy. And then you stand back at the end of the day and look at it and you go, oh, that's awesome. So, you get that job satisfaction
Yeah.
out of it, which I think keeps you motivated and keeps you wanting to do it again.
Yeah.
So
So can a concrete that does slabs benefit from your course?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. If not implementing it in their home, they can implement it with their business. Yeah, it's something. I mean, you won't see too many homes out there that don't have concrete in it,
Yeah.
or that couldn't have concrete in it. So
Yeah.
you,
So it's not just for people that want to do a barbecue or floating to the stairs. Like your course will benefit anyone doing anything with concrete.
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So it's all a process. So it's just yeah, you've got to start from the start, get a nice plan or design going, and then get your formwork, get your materials, get all that sort of stuff, your steel and things, and then put together the puzzle, and then
Preparation, eh?
preparation.
Preparation's a key. And so many people want to just, well, yeah, especially concretes that want to be on the piss by 9 o'clock. So. I actually can't tell you the last time. I've seen a few cans floating around the back of the concreters' cars, but I actually can't tell you the last time I seen a concreter sitting on site having a beer. Like I know back in the day doing my apprenticeship and when I started contracting, like they would turn up at 5 a.m. in the morning with the beers on ice in the truck, and by the time, like I said before, the second truck's backing up to the pump, they're cracking one. It's sitting on the back of the ute. And yeah, no wonder a few of the slabs had some wobbles in them. But it's yeah, it's just how that industry worked, wasn't it?
Yeah, I remember too. Like when I first started, it was either like you'd just do something for a case of beer as well. You'd be like, next door neighbour, you're like, oh, I've got a letterbox that needs to get some concrete in it. I'm like, yeah, just a box, mate. But that doesn't happen anymore either.
Yeah. No, you're doing the favours, but it doesn't. Well, it only benefits the person you're doing the favour for, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
You end up busting your balls, and they get the reward.
That's right.
So, mate, what's Ollie do like to chill out? Like you, like I know what it takes to have try and be successful on Instagram and do this type of thing. Like you're all over it. So how do you chill out? What's your go-to?
Oh, I'm a bit of a foodie.
Yeah.
Love my food, Asian fusion in particularly.
Yeah.
I love doing fishing. Spending time with my family, kids, is really important to me. And now where we are back in Cabba, it's just next level, so close to the beach, and it's just beautiful, the wildlife and things. And it's just a new place to explore. So we love getting out and about. So it's, it's really good.
Are you from here or from Melbourne? Is that what made you move here for the family?
It was that. It was a little bit of the old COVID lockdown. And then, we just went on an RV trip through Christmas last year, and got stuck at the Queensland border. We couldn't get through. So we turned it around and then went down some back roads and off the main highway and stumbled across Cabba, and then that was it. We fell in love with the place, and then
All right.
yeah, moved up pretty quick after that.
Jeez, mate, your story how you became a concrete and your story how where you're living where you are is pretty cool.
Yeah, so
It's meant
it's
to be.
yeah, I think so. And then it's yeah, everyone that I've met up here is, in that town in particular has moved there for a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
It is to, be more about their family and that sort of stuff. And it's a really good, tight knit little community in there, but it's got a real nice feel to it. So
Yeah. Mate, so off the back of that, because I'm a big fan of things are meant to be. So like obviously you got asked to check out to bloody be a concreter, and now look at where you are. You've turned an RV around. You've found a new place to plant your family. Like what's like I feel like you're a very driven person. Like you find a passion and you run with it. Like what would you tell people out there that are listening that might love what they do, but they're losing their passion because I don't know they don't like their boss, or they're not earning enough money, or whatever. Like you've obviously had a drive to keep progressing and get to where you are. Like what advice would you give for other people?
you've got to stick it out. Everyone has shit days. Everyone has shit weeks. But you've got to find what you love about it, and then use that as your engine to motivate you along and get you going, and make sure that you are doing what you want to do. If you're not happy where you are, get yourself into a place where you can be happy, because it's a game changer. Like I've gone through my own mental battles and stuff through the past as well, but it's more getting out of that rut and getting into your groove, and then you're then you're all right. You've just got to find something that you're really passionate about and give it your all.
And how do you what's your advice for overcoming that? Because like people are going to hear that and they're going to go, well, like it's all right for him. He might add some money behind him, or whatever. Like because a lot of things that people think they've got a drive, but then like, oh, I don't have enough money, or oh, I don't have enough time. Like,
Yeah. Well, I moved out of home when I was 16 with nothing, so
yeah,
it's you've got to just, I don't know. It's a hard one. It takes an individual person. They've got to find it within themselves.
yeah,
If you find it within yourself, then you can get your way out of it. Reach out for help. Speak to your boss. Speak to other workmates. I think it's just really important just to start up conversations with people. And if you're not happy, let someone know. You don't want to be going to work with your boss and be miserable, and then all that camaraderie goes down the drain. When if you just had a conversation about why you're unhappy and what you could do to maybe change that, then all of a sudden the doors might open up. So
because I used to always think this was the biggest wank ever, but when you find your passion, what you love, you never work a day in your life, do you?
yeah, I've heard that a lot, and I do like it. And I think it's if you're lucky enough to be able to relate to it, I think a lot of times I have days like that. I have jobs like that. Clients like that, where it's just like, oh my God, this is just like the dream. Weather's wicked, doing a really cool job. But then you've got the other side of the coin as well, where you still love what you do, but it's torrential rain. Client's an absolute arsehole. And you're just like, oh man, stuff this. But it's just a wave. You've just got to ride it.
Yeah, but most days, when you find your passion, you're going to have a lot more better days than bad days.
100%. Yeah.
And run with it.
Yeah.
I think it is like again, I'll put my hand up. Like not every day's perfect. Like there's always some little thing going on, and like I put myself out there. I deal with a few demons every now and then. Like you get that voice in your head saying, "Oh, what are you doing this for?" But I just keep like mine's just kept growing and growing, and I think it's again why I applaud you for doing your courses and things. Like when you like the driver for me now, and the reason we're doing this podcast to level up and elevate and change the building, like create a new building industry. I just love it.
Yeah.
Like I just get out of bed pumped every morning to like I'll fight my own little battles with I don't know, I might have to deal with something going on one of my jobs, or a shitty phone call that I don't want to have, but like overall Like life's pretty good.
Oh, and I'm watching some of the stuff that you're doing as well and going, oh, I can so relate to that as well. You know, oh, that was me, or, you know, it's really interesting, and yeah, it's really good to be a part of.
So you touched on just before, you said you've dealt with your own battles.
Yep.
Like what, do you mind talking about that?
Yeah. It was more so COVID was a massive thing in Melbourne, obviously, and it was, you know, right through winter, things like that. So I had days where I couldn't even go to work. I remember going to work one day. I was the only person on site, and a council guy came up to me and said, "Get off site, mate. You shouldn't be working." I said, "Mate, I'm the only one here. All I'm doing is picking up some form work." He's like, "You want to take this further?" I said, "No, I'll just get in my truck and go home." And I got home and I was livid. I was like, I can't even just do my job. Like, I love what I do. And, you know, we were tossing up a move regardless, but it was more, that was a big motivator for me was, I was pretty down. So went and spoke to someone and, just had to let a lot of stuff out, let a lot of stuff go. And then it was, something that I was really glad that I did. It was super hard to do at the time.
Like that's the hardest part, isn't it?
Oh, massive.
Like to have the guts, balls, whatever you want to call it, to have that first conversation. Once you have that first conversation, it's like,
oh, it just poured out of me. It was just like that, and it was a huge relief. I actually like walked out of there with almost like I had wings on. You know, I was like, it's this awesome. But yeah, got home and then it was like, well, let's do this change. Let's just get to somewhere where the weather is a little bit better most of the time.
Well, you moved up in I think it's one of our wettest summers on history or some shit. But.
Yeah, but just more, it's the kids they're in a much smaller school now. We're in a community. We feel like we're a part of a community. As before, it was like every man for himself down where we were. It was, you know, it was kind of, look, it's fine, but you don't realise how caught up you can get sometimes. Yeah. And it was like, we just want to just let go a little bit more, spend more time together, enjoy things together as a family. And when you're enjoying yourself in your home life and your family life, then it obviously has a domino effect on your work life and stuff as well. You're going to be more enjoyable. And enjoy that a lot more as well.
One of my big things now is like if I'm not right, nothing around me can be right. Like you've got to if you're in a good spot, then your work's better, your family life's better, your relationship with your partner's better, with kids. Like it's just it like you said before, it takes this weight off, doesn't it? Like everything's I think blokes are well, I know blokes because I held shit up for years, but it's funny like. I don't know if you've seen the blokes from Cool to Be Conscious. We went to a few of their breathing sessions up the sunny coast, and we turned up there with a mate of mine. Come one day, he I don't know, just out of the blue turned up, and he won this free pass to go to one of their full day events. And I'm like, oh, well, I'll come with you. So my wife and kids come home, and me and him went to this I think it was like this 5-hour breathing ice bath retreat thing. And mate, if I had known what they were going to do that day, there's no way in the world you would have got me along to this thing. But it's one of the best things I've ever done. Like it was, and like you said before, like I walked out of there. So 3 years ago now, me and a heap of mates, good mates, went to base camp, and that was a real challenge for me. Like I'd never really got out of my comfort zone and done that sort of thing, and I felt the same walking out of that room that day as I did when we made it to base camp. Like I walked out of the room just like the weight of the world off my shoulders.
Yeah.
I come home, I had open conversation with my wife. Like,
it gets rid of a lot of fog from the head. It just clears your head up a bit, I think. And it's
and it's a blokey thing, isn't it? Like I'm obviously a big supporter of the trademark guys and what they do, and I encourage my team at work to try and like I'm always checking in. Like one of the first things I do when I get sighted is, hey guys, how you going? How's your weekend? Like all that type of thing. I think, and you never know what someone else is dealing with, like behind the scenes. Yeah. So
and everyone's life can change like that too. You know, it's like all of a sudden you can be fine, but you know you can have something happen, and then you know all of a sudden you just get down. You know, my spiral started because I lost my dad through COVID, and I couldn't go and see him. It was really hard. That was like no control there, and it was just emotionally beating me down.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can get out of it. It's just you've just got to go and see the right people and things.
Yeah, no, awesome, mate. Well, look, it's been fantastic talking today. Like, I think again, take my hat off to you. I think to do what you're doing, where you've come from, where you've been, and like your passion, like I can see it in you. Like it's just it's resonating. Like
Yeah, good.
Yeah, and I just think it's fantastic. So look, for anyone out there, you're going to give some links we're going to share on the end of this podcast for anyone that wants to get in contact with you.
Yeah, we've got anyone who's listening today, if you mention the word podcast, we've got a special promo for you guys. It's 20% off our online course, which will be a huge saving. It just might give you the motivation to, get going, maybe have a career change, or even just start some DIY and find something that you can do and upskill.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome to see you in the Wolfpack if you did.
So, mate, they can check you out on Instagram, Facebook, all those sorts of things.
Yeah, you just sort of see a little bit of what we do. We've got lots of reels and things on there. So a lot of behind the scenes and how we go about creating the stuff that we create. So,
yeah. Well, mate, thanks very much for coming on. Like, thanks for opening up, talking to us about everything, family, mental health, work,
yeah, it was
everything
a rabbit hole, wasn't it?
Well, mate, that's what we're here for. And like, I can't create a new building industry without telling real stories. Like, I think.
Oh, that's right. And behind every face is a story. So,
yeah,
it's good.
I think it's actually been very great for me. Like, I didn't think the podcast was going to do what it's done, but it's almost like when people come on here, it's like permission to tell a story. And like we've had a couple of guys sitting on the chair, tearing up. Like it's fantastic. So hats off to you. Appreciate everything you've said and what you've put out there for everyone to take away. And mate, keep smashing it out.
Yeah,
keep it up.
Will do.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Duayne.
Everything discussed during the Level Up podcast with me, Duayne Pearce, is based solely on my own personal experiences and those experiences of my guests. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. We recommend that you obtain your own professional advice in respect to the topics discussed during this podcast.